Welcome to the Learn to Sew Academy channel. Please remember to subscribe. Thank you.
The first part of this video is linked in the description below.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to prep the pockets. So what we want to do, we want to look for the right side of our fabric. This is the wrong side, this is the right side. Now remember when we're cutting the pockets, I mentioned that your pockets face down like that. When you attach them, you want them to face down. You don't want to attach them in a way that it's coming up like this. That is wrong. Now this is the waist. This is where we're going to be joining the waistband. So you want your pocket facing down like that. So what you're going to do is, like we cut 2 for each side. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach 1 over here. We're going to be doing right side to right side. And again, attach it in a way that when it's done, it's facing downwards like that. It's slanting downwards. Now, to attach it, you want to measure 3.5, between 3 and 3.5 from the edge here. So I'm just going to do 3.5 right there. And then you're going to pin this down. So next you're going to go to your sewing machine. After you've pinned down your pockets on all sides of your skirt, you're going to go to the sewing machine and you're just going to sew this down so that you have what looks like this. Again, it's right side to right side. So you sew the pocket to the main body of the skirt. But what you want to do is you want to use a reversing stitch, a back stitch at the beginning of the stitch, and you end it also with a back stitch to lock in your stitches. You do like 1/2 inch seam allowance as you sew this across. So you're just joining only the pocket. You're joining it from one end to the other end. That's what we're doing right now. And you want to do the same to all the other sides of the skirts.
Next, we're going to run gathered stitch across the waist area of the front.
So to run a gathered stitch, you want to increase your stitch length to as high as you can. You can do a 5. And this is so that it will be easy for you to draw your gathers. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Now you're not going to be using any back stitching. You're just going to do a straight stitch all across from one end of the skirt to the other end of the skirt. That's all we're doing, gather stitch. Now we're going to draw gathers on this. And we're going to make sure the gathers tie to what we cut our waist to be. Remember that the waist we did for the front was half of our total waist, which was 17.5, and we added 1/2 inch on both sides, so we add 18.5. So we're going to gather these stitches until we have 18.5. The next thing we're going to be doing is to prep the flat waistband for the front.
Take your fusible interfacing and attach it to one side of the waistband. Remember that you're going to be attaching it to the wrong side of the fabric.
So we're just going to make sure that these gathers is evenly distributed from one end to the other, and we're going to pin this. We're going to pin this to the waist right there, and we're going to sew it across. Now notice that we are using the parts that have the fusible interfacing, and we're doing right side to right side. So we're going to iron the edges facing towards the top of the skirt. Now we're going to prep the back of the skirt. As you can see, this is the pockets that we already have in place. So we're just going to take the waistband for the back, and we're going to do right side facing right side. You pin this across from one hand to the other hand like so, and we're going to sew this in a straight line, and you do it on the part that's closest to your pockets. That's the waist area, because this is a waistband. This is where we're going to be putting our elastic. So we're going to be ironing this seam. We're going to iron it such that where we have joined it, we're going to iron that up. This is a waistband, so we're going to iron it in such a way that this comes up. Next is to work on the belt. So I'm just going to pin this together, and then we'll go to our sewing machine, and we're going to just sew this from the edge across all the way down, and then we'll flip this right side out. So we're going to be sewing on the wrong side, and we do the same with the second part of the belt. So what we're going to do next is we're going to flip this right side out. So any way you can do it, and I'm going to work more on the tip to make sure it comes out looking really sharp. The two belts have been ironed out. So what we're going to do next is we're going to attach the belt first. And the way you're going to attach it is such that this slant is facing this way. It's coming up. The slanted part of it is pointing up. So that's how you want to lay it. And then you want to put it kind of centered to that part of the front waist where you have your fusible interfacing. Then the other one too is going to be the other way. You want to align it such that that is also centered. This is the back part of the fabric. So we're going to go ahead and work on the back as well. We're going to match where we have the joining one to each other. And what we're going to be doing now is going to our sewing machine. I'm going to start from the edge like that. I'm going to sew this across. Now as you sew, make sure that your belt is out of the way. You don't want a situation where you're sewing your belt in the way or something. Make sure that the belt is out of the way. So go ahead and start sewing. Make sure you align the seam area. So we want to sew from up down like that, like so. And then if you've done your pockets well, they should also align well such that they are both facing the same direction. If you don't do it well, one may be facing down, another may be facing up, like so. You don't want that situation. You want both to face down. So you're going to sew this, come all the way down. When you get here, you want to now continue sewing. You come down here to where you have about ½ an inch for your pocket. You now continue sewing all across like that, doing your ½ an inch. You come over here and you continue to sew from there down to the end of your skirt. Go to the other side and you're going to join the same way on the other side. This is what we have now. This is the front, as you can see. This is the back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure how much elastic we need. Now, if you have a big elastic, maybe like 3 inches wide, you can also use that. but I've decided to use these small ones because I want to have two different layers of elastic. So I'm going to have one this way, I'm going to have another one on top like that, and I'm just going to have my casing sewn in the middle. So what we want to do to know how much elastic we're going to need, we're going to take whatever your waist measurement was, which is 37 in this case, and then you're going to take half of that, which we know to be 18.5. We did 18.5 right here. So you will take your elastic and you will measure that 18.5 less anything between 2 and 4 inches, depending on how snug you want it to be. But it's better for you to have it too long than for it to be too short. So if you have it too long, that's okay. You don't want it too short. If your elastic is too short, you may end up having to toss it out. So we're going to do, in this case, we're going to do the 18.5 inches, and we're going to less 3 inches out of that. So we'll have 15.5. But remember that when we start to sew, we're going to also have seam allowances for this elastic. So I'm going to do half on both sides, giving me a total of 16.5. So what I've cut here is 16.5, and I've cut 2 of this because, again, I want to have them in 2 layers at the back. The next thing to do is to now do a casing for the back. We're going to open up the seam as such, and then you're going to fold this in by half an inch. If you like, if you prefer, you can first iron this all the way round the waistband, but otherwise, if you have a strong fabric like I do, you just need to fold it in by half an inch, and then opening up your seam, you fold it in like so to form a casing. And when you do, you go all across. We're only going to do this for the back. So you may want to pin it down if that will help you better. So you want to open up the seam, and you match the seam from the inside, you match it to the one outside. And as you do all of this, remember to keep your belt out of the way because you don't want to sew on the belt. So anyway, you just come down over here and you stitch this across. You'll be matching it to the edge, to the where we join it. So just want to put a stitch all across at that edge, just like that, all across. Now we're going to do that only for the back. So we need to leave the front open. So you go from one end and you finish up at this other end. You leave this front part open, the front waistband. You leave it open for now because we need to pass the elastic through here. We need a place through which to pass your elastic. So that's why you want to leave the front open. Now, as you leave the front open, if you were going to be using a wide elastic, so you just pass your elastic, maybe your 3-inch wide elastic, you just pass it all through the casing after you have finished sewing this all around. But because I'm using 2 layers of elastic, so after we sew the back from one end of the back to the other, I'm now also going to come to the middle like so, and I'm gonna sew it again all across the back only. This is so I can have 2 different casings, one at the top, one at the bottom. So that way I can pass one elastic through the top casing, and I'll pass the second elastic through the bottom casing. The back is now stitched. So what we want to do is you want to find a midpoint. You can use a ruler to rule it if that will work better for you. So I'm gonna look for, this is 4 right now, so I'm gonna just divide it at that 2. That's where we're going to go and stitch this waistband across.
Alternatively, if you choose to use a wide elastic, like a 3-inch elastic, you can pass it through the casing, and then after you've sewn the casing close, you can come back and sew it in the middle to give it the same effect if you so desire.
Now that we have the casing in place, this is the first casing, that's the second one. So now we're going to take our elastic and we're going to run it through each of the casing using a safety pin. You grab a strong safety pin, pull this through one end of your elastic, and then what you want to do is you want to pass this through the casing. First pull it through, and then we're going to secure the other end, this first end, this end, we're going to secure it right in the middle here, sewing along the seam as much as we can. So that's what we're going to do first. So now that we have this here, this elastic, I'm just going to push it in a little more. Okay, so that we don't lose this other end in the casing, so we're going to secure it in place. So I just want to show you what we're going to do. So remember we left like 1/2 inch, so that's it right there. That's it right there. So I'm going to now sew on that part. So we're going to sew it. Just make sure it's centered. No, remember we did 2 inches each, and this is a 1-inch elastic waistband. So and then you keep feeling for the end of the elastic so that you know when you get to the end. Okay, so this way we have closed up one part of the back casing, the upper casing, we have closed it up. If you want, you can go ahead and do the same for the lower casing at the same time, or you can decide to do it one at a time. I mean, finish up this and then come do the lower one, but I'm just going to do the lower one right away as well. And we're going to do exact same thing. You just need to grab another safety pin and just repeat the same process I just showed you right now. Okay, so right now I have my safety pin. You can feel it in here. I'm going to be moving towards the other end of the skirt, the other side of the skirt. So now I'm just walking using my safety pin as a guide, and as you go along, make sure that it is not twisted. You want to make sure that your elastic is laying flat. So I'm just going to be walking towards the other side of the skirt where I'm going to pull out my elastic. So now I'm out on the other side. I can feel it. So just want to pull it out there. And your back should already be looking something like this. Okay. So what we're going to do on the other end is we're also going to align it well and sew at the seam. Do the best you can not to sew over your belt. So that's what we're going to do at that end too. So at this point, you want to check to make sure that what you have at the back here is snug enough for you. If you like, you can even try it on at this time to check if this is snug enough for you. Now, if your elastic is too long, remember I said it's better you have it too long than too short. So if this elastic is too long, this is where you just adjust it. So that if it's too long, you just pull it out some more and then you lock it in and then you can cut off the excess. But like I said, you want to try it on if possible. If you're not trying it on, you want to measure it to make sure what you have here, or you measure across, that it's enough for your waist measurement. Make sure you align it well. If you like, you can also use a pin to hold that place in, if that helps. So next, we've done the upper parts. That's what we have. So we're gonna look for the lower elastic, and we can find it by looking for the zip or for the safety pin. So it's right here. So we're just going to walk this all the way to the other end of the back of this skirt, the other side. So that's what we're doing now. And you pull out your safety pin with your elastic at the other end. And now you want to go ahead and sew that part down just like we did for the upper part. This is what the back looks like right now. So we're going to remove the safety pin, the two safety pins. And the next thing is for us to close up the front. So now that we've done the side, we're just going to come here and close up the front. So again, you can hold that down with a safety pin or with a pin, or you can just go to your sewing machine and just turn it in and sew it as you go along. And so we'll go to the sewing machine now, and we want to just sew from one end to the other end. Again, as you sew, be conscious of your belt. So that is what we're going to do. Then when that is done, we'll come to the bottom and we'll have to fold this in by how much you want to fold it in. Whatever you left for your seam allowance, you just turn that in. You double it, turn it in, and you sew it from one side of the skirt all across to come back to that side. The Maxi skirt is complete now. So that's the front. This is the back of the skirt. This is a belt that you can make into a bowl in the front. You can form a bowl with this when you wear it. Our pockets are in place, they are deep enough, just what I wanted. The bottom is completed as well. This completes our skirt. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and don't forget to leave us a thumbs up if you like this video, and share our videos too. Thank you.